Speaking of pedophiles, let me introduce your next comic. Give it up for my friend and the only guy who actually pays me money, Roy Hairstons.
Thanks, Johnny. Appreciate that. I am like to introduce myself by saying I'm not a fucking pedophile. My name is Roy Hairston. Like Johnny said, I am a United States Navy veteran, which for those of y'all that don't know means I'm the smartest guy in the room, but less paid than the Air Force guys. So it's cool. We had a lot less fun in the Air Force. Yeah, I started PTSR. I want to give a shout out to Dan Price. Holy shit, great job. By the way, give Dan Price a round of applause. Great job tonight. I want to lend some credibility to Dan. He doesn't seem like a Marine. Normally when I recruit comics for the show, I go to Hobby Lobby to see people, you know, grocery shopping in the Crayola aisle, and I did not find him there. So that worked out. Not a Marine, it checks out. Oh shit. Yeah, I was in the Navy for 6 years. I joined in 2009, but before that, I lived in Fort Payne, Alabama. Y'all know where Fort Payne, Alabama is? Oh yeah, a few people. I'm in a lot of different places all over the country, and a lot of times people have no fucking clue. So I'll tell you all, for those of you that don't know, Fort Payne, Alabama, we're basically famous for 3 things. Number 1 was the band Alabama. Basically the best fucking thing to ever come out of that town, if I'm being honest. Band Alabama, they were awesome. Number 2, poverty. Yeah, a lot of poor people there. A lot of poor people in Fort Payne. And number 3, number 3 goes hand in hand with number 2. It's meth. We're huge for meth. Big exporter of that product. Matter of fact, when George W. Bush was president, he was visiting down after Katrina, and there was a lot of crazy shit that happened during that time. But one of the things that stood out to me the most as a high schooler living in Fort Payne, Alabama, was when he called out my hometown as being Meth Mountain. That was super inspiring, right? Like, cool, that's what I'm going to put on my resume, from Meth Mountain. Sweet. But I grew up poor in Fort Payne, like a lot of people do. Anybody get here grow up poor? Yeah, I'm in Huntsville, that almost never gets a woo. I love poor people. I grew up poor, and y'all know, for the people that grew up poor, y'all know one of the hardest things about growing up poor, and one of the hardest things growing up around a bunch of meth addicts, is figuring out how you're not going to be a poor meth addict when you're an adult. And that was hard for me because I was failing in high school. I was just scraping by spinning my teeth, C at least, and then dipping into F's every now and then. But the Navy came in for me. That's what saved my life, honestly. The Navy came in, they gave me a job, they made me part of something bigger than myself. They sent me around the world doing an intelligence job. Imagine that, a poor redneck from Fort Payne, Alabama, traveling the world doing intelligence work in the military. That's what the military can do for us. But, you know, for those of you that have been, and by the way, how many veterans do we have in here tonight? Yeah, love to see y'all out. Thank y'all very much. Happy Veterans Day to all of us. Any of y'all that have been in, y'all might know, if you had kids while you were in, my wife got pregnant 2 months before I went on deployment. I deployed on the USS Abraham Lincoln. It's supposed to be a world tour, but we were just leaving San Diego. The reactor was shutting down. We were at our 25-year re-up for the reactor. And we were supposed to just sail around the world, land in Norfolk. We weren't going to do any of that war shit, like Operation Enduring Freedom wasn't even on our radar. And sure enough, as soon as we got there, y'all can find me on the BBC if you Google 2011 USS Abraham Lincoln transits the Straits of Hormuz. I'm 20 years old, standing on the flag bridge next to Admiral Shoemaker, because the Iran said they were mining the straits and denying American access. It's a lot of fucking stress for a 20-year-old. Like, I was watching a helo feed, just E4 fucking nothing, with a bunch of admirals and captains standing around. It was crazy. But yeah, my wife got pregnant 2 months before I left, and that's hard as shit. Leaving your 2-month-old son, your firstborn, and being a world away. Our deployment got extended from 4 months to 9 months, 2 weeks at a time. It was hard as fuck, you know? And for any parents, you don't even have to be a veteran. If you're a parent in the audience, you know when you have a kid, it changes your perspective on everything in life. It really does. And it did for me too. I'm no different. Being a world away. And I was thinking the whole time I was on that ship, I was like, as soon as I get home, I'm getting out of the Navy, I'm running back to Fort Payne, Alabama, where I know everybody and I'm at home, and I'm going to become a stand-up comedian. It's like another way of saying I'm moving back into poverty, right? Because I figured, fuck it, if I had to grow up poor so's that little bastard. He's not taking the easy way out. So that's why I moved back. But it was weird coming back, you know, I came back to a world that I didn't fit into anymore, because being in the Navy, I had to lose a lot of my redneck ways. They don't really appreciate you going off-road and on base. Not a big thing there, you know? Had to stop drinking as much, lost my southern accent. And, and by the way, I want to point out, we got a bunch of Southern veterans in the audience. How fucked up is it? As an intelligence specialist, I was in front of a bunch of admirals and generals, and I legitimately had somebody sit me down and say, Hairston, listen, you know, you sound like a fucking idiot. That's how I talk, fuck. My bad. So I had to change that shit up. But I came back before paying. I'm surrounded by poor rednecks who are my people, but I don't fit in anymore. That was hard to deal with, you know? And then, thankfully, 2020 rolled around. The coronavirus came out. And I know not many people are thankful for the coronavirus, but I am. Because up until the 2020 coronavirus, I was super concerned about my position in this redneck community. Didn't know how I fit. And then I started watching these conspiracy theory videos where they were talking about how the coronavirus vaccine, it's going to turn us all into zombies. At first that worried the fuck out of me. But I got thinking about it. And being surrounded by rednecks is not a bad position to be in a zombie apocalypse, right? Right? Yeah, like, I mean, you think about it, we've all got four-wheel drive trucks, gassed up, ready to go. We got guns locked and loaded, and let's be honest, we're waiting on a reason to shoot Cousin Bobby in the face with a rock. But most importantly, statistically speaking, there's not enough teeth in that town for me to get big anyway, because of the meth problem, you know? I think I'll be alright. Oh shit, I'm happy as hell to be here tonight, y'all. Not just on the stage doing comedy, I'm happy to be alive. I came out of the Navy with some PTSD, suicidal depression, shit like that. And like I said, I was married, and that'll impact a relationship. It will. I mean, that's hard to deal with. The flashbacks, the nightmares, the constant anxiety attacks. It's hard shit to deal with in a relationship. And I got divorced. I'm saying all that to say, I got divorced about 6 months ago. It was a really nasty divorce. I didn't know if I could keep doing comedy after it. It's hard to stand up here and be funny when you're going through hard shit. But, you know, my ex-wife, she found out I was thinking about quitting. She texted me. She said, Roy, I think you need to stick with this comedy thing. I think this could be your thing, you know? And I was like, well, hot damn. You're finally supporting my passions and interests. Like, if you'd done that while we were married, maybe we'd stay together, you know? She texted back. She said, LOL, period, nah, period. But I got thinking about it. You basically get paid to stand in front of random groups of strangers and disappoint all your friends and family. And I think that's something you could be great at for once in a while. So fuck it, I stuck with it, you know? And don't get me wrong, I don't think she loved me because she thought I was going to kill myself. I think she knows as well as I do I'm way too much of a coward to go through with something like that. But that being said, I did everything I could to make it work, you know? I got her some low-cut tops, a cookbook, a gym membership, told her maybe if you looked better, cooked better, we'll stay together a little bit longer. Y'all, it didn't matter what I did. That woman was a quitter. I could not get her to kill me. Couldn't get her to kill me. Oh, shit. Y'all heard a lot of dark jokes tonight, and I've been telling some of them myself. I want to let y'all know, with organizations like Still Serving Veterans, this is one of the best generations to be a part of and have PTSD because of the love and support we get from organizations like them. We got a lot of love and support and understanding. Yeah, give them a hand. We have a ton of love, support, and understanding from our friends, our family, and great organizations like Still Serving. But if you think about it, if I was like 6 generations ago, sir, if I was in your generation, yeah, and I said I was sad. Oh yeah, behind you, not you, behind you, yeah. If I said I was sad one too many times, a medical professional would have had a nurse strap me down to a table, electrocute me, and have a 2-hour conversation about how big of a piece of shit I've been being my whole life. I don't know about y'all, that's like my favorite category on Pornhub right now, so. Would have went through some towels on that doctor's visit, I'm just saying. Alright, that's my veteran stuff. We got any LGBTQ plus folks in the house tonight? Fuck yeah, I love LGBTQ plus people. people I do. Y'all are beautiful, colorful people, and you add a lot of light and life into the world, and I am super happy you're here. That being said, if I can be critical for just a moment, I've had a few awkward interactions. I'd like to work through here at this comedy show. I was dating a girl recently, and I was banging her like a screen door in a hurricane. Let's be honest. Shit was too good, you know? She was throwing back. She moaned my name a couple of times. I was like, man, we're having to talk after this shit. And sure enough, as soon as we got done, she turned around and she said, Roy, we need to have a talk. I was like, fuck, I knew it. All right, baby, what's going on? And she said, well, I just wanted to let you know before I let anybody else know that I'm trans. Yeah, right. I was like, oh, shit, okay, like, which way though? Which apparently is not the right question to ask, but I said it. And she was graceful. She said, well, I was born with a female anatomy, but I'm going to begin presenting as male and using male pronouns. And I was like, whoo, damn, I'm glad it was that way around, you know? Because if it had been the other way around, I was going to hunt down that doctor. I was going to find him. I was going to give him a high five. He did a damn good job on that pussy. Holy shit. But all things considered, you know, I was in the Navy, whatever, you know. But I'm a straight dude. It's awkward for me to be slapping a dude on the ass after sex, and I'm not gonna stop fucking Tom. He gives great head. Okay? It's just weird for me. He could have baked me a casserole, some basic Southern hospitality. That's all. It's all white people in here, isn't it? No, all right, it's white. It's hard being white, isn't it? It is. It's hard being white. Don't get me wrong, I realize as a white dude, I basically have it better than any demographic of people anywhere on this planet at any point in history. But that doesn't mean it's not awkward. I was super nervous about doing the show tonight. I called up Jennifer on the way down here. I was like, Jennifer, we might have to cancel the show. I had to stop off in Birmingham. I'm doing some retail therapy, having a full-on anxiety attack. I don't know if I can go through with this. And she said, what are you worried about, Roy? And I was like, I'm worried about bombing. She said, Roy, you're not going to bomb. You're going to kill it. I said, fuck yeah, I'm going to kill it. She said, you're going to knock him dead. I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to knock him dead. I got to go before I lose my nerve. And I hung up the phone. And then I realized what the citizens of the Birmingham, Alabama Walmart are seeing is an anxious, balding, overweight white veteran pacing nervously going, I don't know if I can go through with this bombing. Fuck it, I'll kill it. I'll knock him dead. It's hard being white sometimes, I'm just saying. Oh man. I grew up in a religious household. Any of y'all grew up in a religious household? Yeah, my dad was a Southern Baptist preacher. Do y'all know anything about Southern Baptists? Oh no, I invited him here tonight. He said, do you cuss? I was like, yeah, I cuss. But that was weird as fuck because my dad, being a Southern Baptist preacher, got divorced 3 times in a row, which is a big no-no for Southern Baptists. I'm not one of them, so whatever, I'm down with it. Shit happens, you get divorced, it's all right. But he had divorced 3 times, and it never sat right with me as a kid because my dad married nothing but the hottest women he could find. Like, this dude was batting way out of his league. My mom was voted Junior Miss Alabama in her senior year of high school. The state took a vote. That's not an Oedipus thing, but she's hot. My first stepmom was a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. Redhead, gorgeous. My last stepmom, sorry, I've been drinking. College volleyball coach. Yeah, gorgeous. In shape, fit, beautiful woman. By the way, I was 14 when I moved in with them. Yeah, this was before the era of like Pornhub. Oh no, stepbrother. Like, I thought I was the weirdest motherfucker in the world. Yeah, boners for days. But all 3 women left him. That fucked with me. I was 17 at the time of the last divorce. I was engaged myself. So I got all 3 of the women and my dad together. I said, listen, I'm almost an adult. Clearly, Dad's fucking something up. Can somebody please tell me what he's doing wrong? I don't want to do the same thing. And all 3 ladies, without talking to each other, all 3 of them looked at me and I said, well, honey, the problem is your dad never touched us. And I looked over at my dad and I was like, bro, what the fuck? You touched me all the time. I mean, he spanked me. What did you think? Oh, man. tell a couple of sea stories. Anybody in here in the Navy? No? Fuck. Okay. I mean, it's cool, you know. We can't all be smart. It's fine. No, my first port visit was to Thailand. For anybody who's ever been to Thailand, that's like adult fucking Disney World. Everybody's for sale for the right price. I went there, and the first thing that happened, and like I said, I wasn't intelligent, so I got in the cab, and the first thing the cab driver said to me, he was like, "You want boom boom?" And I was like, "No, dude, don't blow us up. Like, it's cool." He goes, "No, like boom boom." And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" So I started unzipping my pants. He goes, "No, with a woman." Yeah, cool. I'm down for that. So it took us this massage parlor, and I am a son of a Southern Baptist preacher, and I got a lot of shame around sex, just naturally. So we walk in, it's me and my two sailor buddies, we walk in and there's only two masseuses, I don't know how you say it. There were two of them there. Two of the rubbers were there. And I kind of looked at my two buddies and I was like, well, none of us want to take sloppy seconds from both a prostitute and a sailor. Like, that's just a terrible fucking idea. And the little old lady, the receptionist, she was like, no, we have another, it's okay, we'll get another one out here. I said, okay, well, y'all, my granddaddy was a bread stocker when I was a kid, so I made a bet. Because as a bread stocker, he taught me that the fresh bread is in the back. They don't put the freshest bread up front. That's the stale bread they're trying to sell. He's like, y'all take these two. I'm smart, I'm gonna get the next one that comes out. The little old lady walked me back and she said, go ahead and just get naked and lay on the table. She'll be back here in a minute. Like, okay. So I got naked and the shame starts to set in and I was like, I can't look at her. You know? Like, this is a sin. I can't do this. I can do it, but I can't be here for it. Like, I'm gonna look away. So I just laid down on my stomach, I closed my eyes, and she came in, she oiled her hands up, and she gave me the best massage I've ever had in my life, y'all. Like, it was so fucking good. And then she told me to roll over, and I rolled over, and I was like, I'm still not gonna look up. I'm turning my head like this and closing my eyes while she's going to town on my dick. Y'all, she gave me a better hand job than I give myself. Fellas, y'all know how special that is. I'm in heaven right now. I'm trying. I'm thinking of like all the worst things I can think of not to come before I fuck this girl. But I've got to take a peek at her before we have sex, so I opened my eyes just a little bit. And the first thing I noticed was like Ben Gay sitting on the cave table. The next thing I noticed was it was the little old Asian receptionist just going to fucking wiping sweat off her brow, working her ass off. I appreciated the effort. It's the best hand job I've ever had in my life. I could not be erect, but I also couldn't stop thinking of my grandma. So I couldn't come. And I just thought back to my dad going, this is hell. See, you went to hell. You sinned, you went to hell. That joke needs some work. I'm working it out. That's all right. Come off the sea stories. I'll talk to y'all about what made a fucked up person like me. The first thing I can think of that went wrong in my life was a firefighter came to my school in first grade. He came to the school and he told us all about stop, drop, and roll. Did y'all learn about stop, drop, and roll in high school? What the fuck? Like, I thought that was going to be something I used constantly. That was right up there with quicksand. It's like the thing, you know? And what bugged me the most, I'm an ADD kid. I was sitting in the back, raising my hand constantly, like, sir, how do I certify? And he was like, you don't. I was like, yeah, but if I wanted to, like, how would I? He wouldn't tell me, and that pissed me off. So I went home. At the time I was living with my granddaddy. I went home to my granddaddy and I told him, and his dumbass grabbed a lighter and took me outside. He was like, well, here it is. It was fall time, about the same time it is right now. He took me outside and he showed me, brown leaves and brown grass will catch on fire, but green grass won't. I was like, okay, that checks out. He showed me it works. Okay, cool. So if I want to start a fire, I need brown shit, right? Now his mom, my great-grandmother, lived in his front yard, as a good, Fort Payne resident mom does at the end of her life. And I was staying with her one day. He was at work, my grandma was at work, and I told my grandma, my granny, she had her cousin/boyfriend over. He was bald. I called him Bonehead. I was like, hey, I'm going to go down to Granddaddy's house. I'm going to get a toy. They said, okay. I went down there, innocently enough. I just went to grab a toy. I grabbed the toy, and I'm walking out, going into the garage, and right above the deer meat freezer, there's a lighter. And I was like, maybe he was lying, you know? I'm a scientist, I'm in first grade, I need to check this out. So I grabbed that lighter, and I started trying to light things on fire. And sure enough, all the brown grass, it burned right up. I was walking back into the garage to put the lighter up, and I saw a green mop. For those of you alive in the 90s, you remember everybody had a green fucking mop for some reason. It was propped up against a hot water heater wrapped up in a blanket. And I thought, well, that's green, that doesn't burn, right? Click. Fuck! So I grabbed the mop, and I go running out into the woods, filled with dead leaves and grass, not thinking about a goddamn thing, and I toss it like the Olympic torchbearer. The woods light up, and I'm like, well, that's an issue. But then I turn around to the house, and part of the mop had dropped off onto the hot water heater, wrapped in a blanket. For those of you who have been in the military, you realize heat plus pressure equals a fucking explosion. And that's exactly what happened. That hot water heater blew up, spreading the fire all over the garage. Now I'm looking at a raging inferno, and I run to my grandma and her cousin boyfriend with my speech impediment, where I can't say my R's, saying, there's a fire, there's a fire! They don't know what the fuck I'm saying. But finally, I grab Bonehead and I point. He sees the raging inferno. And this full-grown, 65, 70-year-old man grabs a skillet. Not a pot, not a bucket, a skillet. Runs water from the kitchen sink in my granny's house and runs 100 yards with it and goes, psst. At which point I'm like, well, we're fucked. I'm calling 911, you know? So I call 911, I tell them about it, they come out. And I'm a kid, so of course I think adults know everything. Everybody knows I started this fire. They're coming, the police are there, the fire department's there. I'm just hanging out on the porch, dangling my little legs. Fuck, they all know I'm going to prison, this is it. 7 years old, I wasted my life. And they sent the hottest firewoman over to me. Like the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. She walks up and she says, little boy, are you the boy that called 911? And I said, yes, ma'am. And she said, well, we just want to let you know you're a hero, and hands me a badge. And that's the moment I decided to be a fucking liar for the rest of my life. That shit worked out. You know? Yeah. It worked out for a while. Of course, the fire inspector eventually showed up and he saw the forest fire that got started with the charred remains of a mop. It doesn't take much to put together that my granny didn't do that shit. My mom asked me 3 times. The final time she asked me in a way I couldn't lie about it. She asked me very directly, did you start the fire at your granddad's? And I said, yes, Mom, I did. But I also called 911, I'm a hero. All she did, y'all, was she broke my badge and she called my granddaddy. And I had to sit in my granddaddy's lap and tell him, Granddaddy, I'm the one that started that fire that burned down your house. And he didn't yell at me, he didn't spank me. He didn't even get mad, y'all. He looked at me, he said, son, it's all right, I already forgave you. And then when nobody else was in the room, he leaned in real close. He said, I'll get you back one day, you little bastard. So now fast forward, about 10 years later, I'm in the Navy, full-grown man. I've been around the world, I've already deployed. I'm real sure of myself, you know. I'm a man now, I've earned that shit. I earned the uniform, I earned everything I've had in this life. I'm here. And my granddad's wife, who he was married to for 44 years, leaves him. He's so crippled with arthritis, he can't put his own pants on. He can't work anymore, obviously. He was a traveling welder his whole life. The man worked his ass off his whole life, and he's losing his entire house. He can't afford to stay. So I called Navy Federal up. I got the loan approved, went through the whole process, had the inspectors out the day before we were supposed to close. That motherfucker burned that house to the ground. He called me back, he said, gotcha, bitch, and hung up. It's like, fuck. That's almost all of my time. Before I turn it over there, I want to let you guys know, I talked some shit about my parents tonight. I got to let you know, my mom's always been my biggest supporter. When I was going through, I got locked up in the VA mental ward coming out of the Navy, struggling with a lot of the shit that I struggled with. And coming out, you know, she came to visit me in the mental ward, and she said, son, if you can't smile, if you can't be happy, if you can't laugh, you go make other people smile. You make them laugh, you make them happy. I said, hell yeah, Mom, that's what I'm going to do. That's why I started doing comedy. But I'm a millennial, and and I didn't know how the system works. So I just wrote out like 30 minutes worth of material. A lot of the same stuff y'all heard here tonight. Wrote it all out and sat at my house and waited for an opportunity to drop into my lap like a good millennial. In my case, it did. It happened. You know, the showrunner, he called me up. He said, Roy, you got as much time as you want. You get up there and you do your thing. I said, hell yeah. And I told my mom, and y'all being my biggest supporter, she brought out all of my friends and family, my extended aunts and uncles and cousins. My dad and little brother were there. We wouldn't even talk anymore. Everybody. I felt so loved and supported. But still, when the showrunner called my name, my heart's going a million miles an hour. I don't know if I can go through it. I said, no, you got all the support, you got all this love, you're going to do it. And I got up and I started in it. And 4 jokes in, that room was quieter than this one is right now. Not even a courtesy chuckle from my own mom. I was crushed. Like, damn. But I said, you know what, fuck it, Roy, you're not quitting, you're following through with this shit. They taught you anything in the Navy, you're going to follow through. And I did all 30 minutes. By the time I was done, I had cleared the room. Not a soul left. I walked outside to have a cigarette. The other talent were looking at me like I ruined the show. And like any good Southern boy, I looked out and I saw my mom's car off in the distance. And I went running to Mama for comfort. And I got there. My dad looks like he wants to kill me. My little brother, he looks like he wants to fight. I said, Mom, what is it? What joke did I tell that tore this family apart? And she looked up with tears in her eyes and she said, honey, it's not so much that the jokes you told were bad. We're just all concerned and confused about why you did them at your granddad's eulogy. Had to get the last laugh on the motherfucker, right? My name's been Roy Hairston. I'm see your host. Yeah, everybody put your hands together for the headliner of the night, Air Force veteran Ash Kennedy.
All right, I'm bringing the stand back because I like to touch it. How you guys doing? Golly. Who's like lived in Huntsville for a while?